everybody, and welcome to Season 2 of the Gosh Daniel podcast. We've taken a 3 or 4 week break, would you say? I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, it's been quite the break.
I was enjoying life. I apologize.
Yeah. Yep.
We didn't really say that we'd be gone, but then again, nothing particularly good or worth reviewing has come out. And I'm...
Well, besides, recent events.
Well, yeah, like besides what we're going to be reviewing today.
Yeah.
I'm all right ignoring Transformers. I think it...
Yep.
I don't know. I think it deserves a little bit of shunning just from what I've heard about it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Wasn't worth me spending the $2 I have to go see that.
The $2, yeah.
I'm broke. The $2 a month. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah,
the $2 a month from our patrons.
Oh, it's nice to know that you're getting the money. Yes.
Yes. However, PayPal and Patreon have conspired to take away our money. So, we really they have such fees that they take about 49 cents of the $2, which
That's
hurts.
a lot of money for us.
I know. 49 cents of the $2 every month are gone. I get basically $1.51 per month.
Shouldn't it be a percentage though instead of, like a set amount of cents?
So
sad.
I would think so. But no. It's just mean. It really is just mean. Cuz it's like
they see the $2.
I live on these $2.
Oh wow.
I'm really living paycheck to paycheck here. Yeah. And I don't appreciate Patreon taking all my money. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
But
well, we should probably get to reviewing
we'll get to it.
The things.
So we are going to be reviewing 2 episodes today to kick off season 2. And
wow.
Yeah, that was not planned at all. I promise.
Wow.
But we want to talk about 2 movies we actually like. And 2 movies that have come out recently. We know it's a bit late, but we're going to review Baby Driver. It came out like a few weeks ago, but it was just really it was just really good. And
yeah.
I want to talk about it. And we'll get into that a bit later, but first, we're going to review Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
Which most people have been anticipating for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I did not look forward to it after seeing Civil War. But I have to admit, was not as bad as I was expecting. So I guess let's just get into it.
Okay.
So I guess we're going to try some new things with the rating systems that we have on the podcast. I think we'll be wanting to discuss the plot, the character development, / just, characters in general. And overall, like, quality filmmaking in terms of, like, the shots, the sound editing, mixing, and sort of, that sort of thing, along with, like, soundtrack stuff. And so those are sort of 3 categories. And I guess we'll talk about each of those for each of the movies, and then give a rating for each of those individual things, and then give an overall rating. So, without further ado, Daniel, what did you think of the plot of Spider-Man Homecoming?
Okay, so I watched this one video by a filmmaker person that I really liked, and it was like the problem with superhero movies, I guess. And it talked about, the stakes and how always in these huge action budget, films, like the stakes are always at the highest point where it's like you have to save the entire planet. Yet they spend so much time focusing on the overall stakes that they don't spend time focusing on like individual kind of like characters that you can care about to act, that would actually you'd actually care about as you're watching the movie, and you'd hope that it would work out in the end. So I feel like that's Spider-Man Homecoming really actually, kind of, it didn't fall into that trap that a lot of these, big budget superhero films do have. And so, like, with the individual characters, you kind of, like, each character, I know, like, a lot of the roles were smaller, but the stakes were a little bit lower, which allowed for the characters to shine more, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. But, and so I think that worked really well for it. And they totally got the whole, like, theme, like, the whole vibe, I think, of, I guess, Spider-Man in a sense. Which I liked, the whole, high school and all that stuff, which I've heard a bunch of people say, so it doesn't sound, it's not like a two different way of reviewing it, but, yeah, so, I really liked how it wasn't, okay, so it wasn't necessarily a plot that we haven't seen before, or a plot that we haven't, like, that is, like, super crazy, or, different, but it at the same time, it still wasn't so, like, predictable in a sense. Kind of like how in when I reviewed Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and we compared it with number 1, and how number 2 you could just predict how the movie would end instantly, and the plot was still kind of predictable and, like, nothing really different. But opposed from Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where the plot was not really different, but yet you couldn't predict what would happen, kind of, maybe like not a quarter, but 50% or 75% way to the end of the movie, So I did like that, Spider-Man Homecoming had a little bit of a sense of unpredictability. However, I did, are we going to be going into spoilers? Or I think we should.
We can, yeah. I guess it makes sense,
okay.
Too. It's been out for a few days.
I have to say I did predict the big kind of twist, and spoiler here was that Liz, Allen was her last name or something, was the daughter of the Vulture.
Michael Keaton.
So Michael Keaton, and so I did predict that. Like, I had a thought, like, in the back of my head before I went to go see the movie, and the moment he walked up to the house to pick her up for Homecoming, and he rang on the doorbell, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how they're going to introduce it, and it's going to be like this kind of awkward, kind of comical, but kind of shocking situation. And exactly, that's what happened.
I didn't predict it at all.
Yeah? No, you didn't?
I didn't want to. Like, I thought, I was just so happy with how the movie was going. I just didn't want to, like, I don't know. That's probably just an excuse. Yeah. But, like, I was pleased with that for sure.
Yeah. Tell us more about your thoughts, though, of the plot.
I guess I did really enjoy. I guess I didn't think about it before, though. Yeah, but the stakes weren't actually really that high, which is a good thing, especially for it being sort of a spin-off. I guess this sort of movie that doesn't revolve directly around the Avengers and isn't a plot that evolves directly around the Avengers, that's like a smaller scale, those movies always appeal to me more. Mm-hmm. Of the Marvel Cinematic movies. Well, yeah. The Marvel Cinematic movies. That just sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but of the Marvel Studios movies, I guess the ones with the smaller scale are usually more interesting to me, or just, like, that have something different. And I felt like what this movie did was actually surprisingly different for still having reasonable connections to the rest of the Marvel Universe, which I did like, because I felt like Doctor Strange almost should have had, I didn't really want it to, but it could have had more sort of, the rest of the Marvel Universe involvement than it did. Because it was in the same, like, it was on the same planet, and it was like this giant, like, big scale thing, and, like, there wasn't anything going on. And whereas I did just really enjoy how they didn't, like, overdo the connections, like with Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that. I felt like they didn't give too much. They just gave enough to be interesting. Mm-hmm. And, like, it remained a center part of the plot, but without being, like, annoying and, like, yes, we know Iron Man is very popular. Robert Downey Jr. makes a lot of money. We understand this. I didn't feel like it was too much of that.
I totally agree.
I liked the twist with him being Liz's dad, the Vulture. I actually thought that really worked well, and I liked the car chat
That was so awesome.
It was really
Yeah.
funny. I liked it
That
a
was
lot.
probably one of like a highlight scene from that movie. That was just yeah.
It was really well done. I liked how the dialogue was written, and
Totally.
acted.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I guess I did enjoy that they made it more convincing in terms of the high school part of the plot,
Yeah.
because as much as I really really loved the first Amazing Spider-Man, the first one with Andrew Garfield, I didn't really like the second one at all. But the first one I really really liked and was one of my favorite movies when it came out.
Yeah.
As much as I liked that movie, it was not very didn't really feel like a high school, and they didn't really act like high school students, and it seemed just really
Yeah.
really sort of dumb. I mean, when that
Yeah.
movie came out, I wasn't in high school, and I'd never been in high school, so I guess I didn't really get it then anyways. But yeah, he didn't really pass off as a high school student, and nothing really seemed to matter. So
Yeah, and that was like a huge part in the earlier comics with Spider-Man, and that kind of enhances popularity almost about how it totally showed the contrast between him and being just a normal high school student and also a superhero. So them having highlighted that a lot more in this movie than they had in the other movies kind of made me appreciate it.
yeah, exactly. On top of that, I really liked the sort of extra layer that it added to the plot with having his friend involved, knowing that he was Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember his friend's name, but
Ned, I think.
Oh yeah, Ned. That was a cool. I guess it felt like it really changed things up from the other movies, and
Yeah.
I think it changed it for the better, in terms of like I guess the different things that they'd have to do, like to sort of work with this character. I think helped the movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it had, I guess, more in the plot department. It had more of the makings of a good Spider-Man movie than the other ones. I think than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
So
Okay, yeah. I get that, yeah. But with, oh, wait. So, I don't know, I can't remember if it was a post-credit scene. No, it was a mid-credit scene, or it was just at the end of the movie, where, also Aunt May finds out about Peter Parker being Spider-Man, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was good. I think that was just at the end of the movie. I don't think that was in a credit scene.
Yeah. That was so funny.
Mm-hmm. It was...
Because I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, when do you think they're gonna introduce, not introduce, but when are they gonna do that? When do you kind of pull the plug on that? Not pull the plug, but more like actually make it happen. Because I feel like in the first Spider-Man trilogy, the Aunt May kind of knew, but it was never a thing that they spoke. Was it? I can't remember. It's been a while. All I remember is that she kind of like had hints towards it, but she'd never actually confront him about it or something like that. So, and then of course, I don't think the Amazing Spider-Man ever got to that point. Actually no, there was no. Yeah, I think she knew. Like the Aunt May from the Amazing Spider-Man. It was also one of those things where she had a bunch of hints, and kind of put the pieces together, but never actually, made it up like a public thing to them that they both kind of had this, thing where it was clear. It was never fully like 100% clear, but you kind of got the sense that they both knew.
Yeah. I mean, if the Vulture could put the pieces together in like 2 seconds in the car, then I'm pretty sure Aunt May should be able to figure it out. So.
Yeah, and considering she saw him, like, I wonder how that'll happen, like, how that'll work with the sequels and stuff, and what'll happen, and if she'll be, like, too overbearing or overprotective, or will she be like, okay, we gotta kind of work with this, So, I don't know. I'm excited to see how it's gonna play out. But did you see any of the other end credit scenes, though?
Yeah, I sat through all of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember the mid-credit scene, but I remember the end credit scene because it was particularly memorable. But
it was epic. That was pretty great. Captain America was so stinking funny.
It was just really, really meta, and
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. If it's not
Yeah.
Star Wars, because that's why Phil Lord and Chris Miller got fired from the Han Solo movie, is that they were trying to make Han Solo like a really meta character,
Wait,
and it
really?
just yeah, like they from what I heard, there was like a lot of just like really meta things that they had been trying to like work into that movie that they didn't think worked, and then like just sort of things that weren't like really true to the character. But yeah, as long as it's
Okay,
not
then.
Star Wars, I like meta.
Okay, I did not know. I mean, I knew they got fired, but I didn't actually get to hear the reasons why. I just heard that they wanted to take it in a new direction or whatever.
They
you
were
know?
taking it in the
But,
direction they took the Lego movie and 21 Jump
uh,
Street and all of their other movies. And they were
uh,
sort of, from what I understand, pissed off at the fact that they were, not given as much control as they were with their other projects. But I mean, if you're
yeah.
making a movie about like Legos and that's all you have to do, or you're making your own sort of comedy, I can understand why you'd have a little bit less control than over when you're making a movie for the biggest movie franchise ever made.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
that's
And
maybe
we're
that's
back
just
to
me.
Star Wars somehow.
Sorry, yeah. I just had to. I mean, it's season
It's
2.
alright.
We got to start it off with the same old habits because things never change, and everybody needs to realize this. Nothing changes, and it all stays the same, and there's really no point.
All right, sounds good. Back to I'm not Star Wars. Back to
Yes,
Spider-Man.
back to
though.
Star Wars.
So the mid-credit scene, however, all right. Did you? Okay, so you said you didn't remember it, but basically what it was the Vulture was walking in prison through the halls with guards and stuff, and there was like a line of not guards, but a line of other prisoners coming, and he stopped and saw one, and they were talking. It was a dude from earlier, in the film, one of his henchmen, I think, or something like that. And they started talking. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill that that spider dude." And it's like, "Hey, you know his identity?" And he like, and Vulture was like, "If I knew his identity, he'd already be dead," or something like that. And so, yeah, and the dude had a scorpion tattoo on his neck, and so everyone's like, "He's the scorpion." That's so cool.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
I
so,
somehow missed the tattoo, but I caught the rest of it. All right.
Yeah, I missed the tattoo too. I'd have to I had to watch a couple videos and stuff and read some stuff to catch it or see it. So yeah, and so I thought it was very interesting that the Vulture kind of almost had his back, like had Peter Parker's back in a sense.
But
by
that's the
not
same
revealing his
exact
identity.
thing that happened in like the end credit scene of The Amazing Spider-Man, if you remember that. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah,
Where
was
it
the
was
dude
like-
with the hat in the dark.
Yeah, and he was talking about, he's going to try to kill Peter Parker. And then the Lizard is in jail with him, and he's like, "You stay away from Peter, he's a good boy," or something dumb like that. And then the next movie, that's the villain. And it's just that's what happens every time.
Yeah. However, I don't think
It's
the
like a
motivations-
Sony Spider-Man trope or something. I don't know.
I don't think their motivations were the same though. I mean, like
They're both
when it
trying
comes
to like sort of protect him though.
not
It's
really.
the villain from
I
that
feel like-
movie somehow managing to protect the other one, him from the other villain while in jail, as the end credit scene. I thought that
I think
was
it
funny.
was almost like a "I'm gonna take care of him myself" type thing instead of a "I'm protecting him because I've known him for a while and I knew his parents and I want to make sure even though I made a mistake and I want to make sure he's still gonna be okay." I guess it's more of a "I'm gonna get him myself and I'm not gonna try to involve anyone else. This is just a me thing and I'm not gonna want to actually ruin this kid's life. I just want to kill him." But anyways,
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility. I just figured, because he was like, I'll save your life because you saved my daughter's life. I figured after he saved his life, then he was pretty much even. But that's how I took it.
yeah,
So I took that
that's
he was all right with him. I mean, he already basically destroyed his, company, but he also saved his life. So
That's true.
I would have been fine with it. Or I mean, I guess I thought he would have been fine with it. So, but maybe that's just me.
Okay, so we kind of talked about. Well, we
talked about
the plot, I think, right?
Yeah.
And
what would you rate the plot out of 18?
So only because it didn't have the crazy high stakes and the that kind of trope. And I liked the way it flowed, and it was kind of like we kind of got the whole spoilers from the trailer about the big mistake and kind of having to redeem himself and learn. Like I like that, and like it carried out pretty well. So I give it, out of 18, I'd give the plot. I'd give the plot, like, I don't know. I have to get used to rating out of this weird number. Like maybe a 17. Yeah, maybe a 17 or a 16 and a half.
Yeah. I think I'd give it a 16. Just because if 18 is not only like, this is passable and this is like what movies should try to be, but like this is the best plot I've ever seen in a movie. If that's what is 18 out of 18, I'll give it like a 16 just because it's like it's a good plot and it was delivered well and it was interesting, but at the same time it wasn't that great.
Do anything new.
I mean, a lot of that could just be because the trailer sort of spoiled it, which made it less interesting.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it still just remains 16. And thanks Sony for ruining the trailer. So
I know, with their marketing.
Stupid Sony.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we can settle for like 16. You 16 and me 16 and a half then.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Well.
Do you want to talk about character or? Okay.
Yeah, you can go first this time.
All right. I just thought they were unique in terms. I guess most of my review is sort of comparing it to the previous ones, but
I mean, that's kind of all you can do, right?
Yeah. I thought they were unique and well done. I really, really like Ned, and from the trailers I thought he'd be super annoying, but I think they used different shots. Or different takes, at least, of the scenes that they had in the trailers. So it didn't feel that annoying. I think the delivery was different in some of those scenes than it was in the trailer, which was an improvement for me. And I definitely liked that. And I thought Ned was actually a good character and a great addition to the movie, as already stated, I guess. But I think, overall he was a really good character. I liked MJ. I think she was good. Even though I also thought she'd be annoying from the trailers.
Yeah.
Basically, Sony made me think this movie was going to stink, and then Disney proved that it was good, so.
Yeah, Sony was kind of the marketing really was the only thing that Sony had full reign over, I guess.
And they stunk it up.
To, like, creative control. Yeah, and they made it, like, kind of horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, real quick about the marketing, yeah, because some of the scenes, like, I thought were going to be like these drawn out kind of comedy bits that were going to be like, oh, okay, we kind of know what's coming here. But they kind of went through really fast and we're like, oh, okay, that kind of went natural. That wasn't too like, oh, we have to stop here to just soak up this moment of funniness,
Exactly.
So,
yeah, that's what normally annoys me about Marvel movies.
Happen.
So, yeah, I'm glad they didn't do it as much. In this one, I think it was good. I thought that Tom Holland was a much more convincing Spider-Man. He was a much more convincing, I guess I should say he's a much more convincing high school Peter Parker. I guess I probably talked about that a little bit too when I was talking about the plot, but I think he really passes off as a 15-year-old, I think, and he did a good job. I really think he did a good job, and I think his character was, I guess I wouldn't say that his character was developed well because it all made sense up until the end. And that choice, like, I guess I understand for his character how he would have, like, sort of changed to that point.
Wait,
but it didn't seem to make sense.
Can you, like, describe the situation?
So at the very end, Tony Stark is like, here, you have a new suit, it's amazing, and we're going to announce that you're part of the Avengers, and everybody's behind that door, and it's a briefing room, and all of the press is there, ready for you to join the Avengers and stuff like that. And he's like, I want to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and I don't want the new suit, and I don't want to be part of the Avengers or anything. And then he just like, and it was, I mean, it was really anticlimactic, and I sort of didn't like the ending just because I felt like I understood that he didn't want, like, if he was like, I want to keep going to high school and I want to keep living with Aunt May and, like, not ditch my friends, that makes sense for him, I think. But, like, I don't understand why he would just choose to not be part of the Avengers. Because the whole point was that, like, he wasn't really ready, and then he sort of became ready to join the Avengers, and then he proved it. So I felt like he just should have joined the Avengers, at least in a lesser, at the very least, in like a lesser, you know, rank or something.
I mean, I think he kind of did. Like,
I mean, I guess they'll probably call him, right? But it didn't. He wasn't part of the Avengers, and he didn't get his new suit, and he didn't get announced to be part of the Avengers, so he's not like an official member of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And that was dumb to me. But I do think, in terms of like how his character actually like developed, it worked well. It just didn't. I didn't think the ending worked for him.
Yeah.
But you know. Hey, also, let me talk about other main characters of the movie. I really thought Gwyneth Paltrow did a great job as Pepper Potts. Yeah, she was definitely one of the major roles, for sure, because she was one of the first names at the end of the credits, even though she was in the movie for 1 minute.
Yes.
It was dumb, but yeah. No, I think it all, like, I think characters developed well. Just it didn't exactly mesh with the plot as well as it could have. Like, it was a good plot and there were good character development, but, like, I guess the two didn't really mesh for me.
Okay.
I don't know. How about you?
With characters, yeah, I mean, I thought the characters were good. It was cool, you're right, that he had, like, a kind of a sidekick, kind of, friend on the side that knew about everything and could kind of help him out a bit. And it made it seem almost kind of more high schooly and real in that sense, which I agree was cool. And about everyone else, it was really just kind of Ned, maybe Aunt May a little, and mainly, Peter. But all the side characters from the what was it, the club, not the club, the Academathon. Why am I forgetting the name of this? The smart people.
I'm gonna let you figure it out.
They would. Anyways, yeah, they're a group. Basically, having kind of everyone in that one club was cool. All the really main side characters. And I agree, though, like I already said, about how I thought a lot of the characters were going to be annoying, but they really didn't, go to that extent where they would just keep on, pushing it too far and making the characters annoying. And so there was a good balance, I thought. And hopefully in the future movies, well, solo Spider-Man, I wouldn't say if I could say solo, but sequels directly to Homecoming, there would be more involvement from the side characters besides just Ned. And like how MJ kind of like revealed that she was MJ in the end. It was like, okay. And
that
like
was an interesting choice.
Even she had some character development, though.
Yeah, no, it's true. She was fun. I liked her character.
Yeah, and it wasn't like kind of in a cringy way though. Like, I don't know. They could have totally messed it up, but they were careful, and I think they did it good. And with Liz Allen, and how she kind of just, by the end she drifted apart and she moved away, I guess.
I like he didn't just tell her he was Spider-Man. It's like, see, that fixes it all or something dumb.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you kind of knew she wasn't going to be sticking around necessarily, in that, like, Peter Parker was going to be, his girlfriend. It was Liz Allen forever. At least that was for me. That, I figured by the end of the movie something would happen where she'd leave or like something like that. So
I didn't care enough to pay attention to it. Once again.
Yeah.
I thought this movie would be bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so I don't know. There's not much to say because of the character. I did like Aunt May too. She could have also been annoying. Dang, you're so right though about how like literally I just kind of assumed the characters were gonna be annoying based on how they looked in the trailer, but
yeah,
they were good.
I mean that scene when they're going into the party, and Ned is like, "Do you have the suit?" And Tom Holland like pulls up his like jacket a little bit to show it off. Like that was when I sort of like started to be like, no, Ned is awesome and not as annoying as the trailers. Like I went into the movie thinking this guy's gonna really annoy me, and I continued thinking that until up about that scene, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is a good character. That scene was just like perfect for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah. So I guess overall, what would you rate characters? Oh wait, we forgot. We almost forgot about the villain, who's kind of like a really important part.
Yeah, that's important.
A really important character there. I think that there was Vulture. It was good. It was
just awesome.
Yeah, like he played the character so well. Like it's kind of funny that he did Birdman, and then he did
Birdman. He did Batman.
Yep.
I mean, he just likes flying, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And so yeah, he was really good. But like he had a good like balance, I guess, of he also wasn't annoying because every character was thought to be annoying. Because I was speculating that Liz Allen was gonna be the daughter. It's kind of funny that if you think about it, kind of spoiler, but it doesn't really matter because we just everything. So in the beginning of the movie when he's showing his coworker the drawing, that's technically Liz Allen's drawing. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Wow. So technically that's a thing.
That's cool. Yeah, I just thought the opening scene, like with him and them like figuring out what to do with all that like tech, was just I think it was a really good way to open a movie, because normally you see like this is what happened several years ago, with like some either unrelated character or like I don't know. You don't normally see the villain not being a villain at all.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain it, but like usually those movies that like open with something happening in the past and then it goes like however many years later, it's usually like, I guess I think of like The Fifth Element or something like that, where it's really important to like understand what happened and stuff like that, but it's not usually, I guess it's not always used for character development, and it's most definitely not used for the character development of the villain.
Yeah.
I thought it was
this was just kind of like important context, I guess.
Yeah, it was just a unique way to do it, I think.
Yeah. I agree. It was different. It was different from like it wasn't necessarily
I wouldn't have liked him as much without that scene, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't normally those scenes are supposed to give you insight on the plot, and in that way it kind of did, but it was more focused on giving insight on his character.
It did, yeah, and it explained like really interesting plot stuff that like I hadn't thought about with the Avengers, that again like made the movie feel like smaller scale and more intimate, and like more details sort of matter than the Avengers did or something like that. But it also delivered a lot of like really good character development for him, so I liked it.
Yeah. All right, so now I think that we've talked about all the characters. What would you rate characters?
Overall, I think how they handled characters and the character development, I want to give it, I don't know. I can't decide if I want to give it like a 17 or like a 15, because
it's hard though, because you don't want to rate it in the middle, like, because usually like, oh, the middle, that's awful, but I don't know.
I guess I'm going to say 17 because I just thought it would be annoying, and it like wasn't, and it actually most of it just worked. I can't think of anything
Okay.
specifically that I didn't think worked in terms of the characters.
Yeah.
So
I guess you're right.
yeah, 17.
I'll go 16 and a half again though, just because I guess you could say I know. I guess you could just say since you were a little bit more on leaning to the this movie's probably gonna be really bad side. You were more surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's true.
I guess I wasn't. I mean, I was still expecting them to be kind of annoying and cheesy, which they weren't at all. So that's really nice. So but you know, I was a little bit more optimistic than you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it a 16 and a half.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we can go on to quality now. So that's cool.
Ah, yes.
What were some specific things that just popped out at you that you were like, oh my word, quality?
Well, I mean, I thought they did a lot of cool stuff. I mean, obviously, he has to be fully CG, being Spider-Man. There's not a very good way to make it not CG, but I think most of the CG worked.
Uh-huh.
I think there were like some scenes that just not even scenes that didn't work. It wasn't like Amazing Spider-Man 2 where the whole thing looked bad. It was there were like specific parts of scenes that like for half a second it really looks CG and then it doesn't again.
Okay.
I really liked and I thought it looked realistic-ish. That scene when he's trapped in the whatever it's called, the Department of something or other.
Oh yeah, where they took all the weapons and artifacts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the with all the crates.
Mm-hmm. When he was trapped in there, I thought like that looked realistic. Like when he's trying to open it, and he's flying around and he's doing a bunch of different stuff and he's really bored. I thought a lot of that looked realistic.
Yeah.
The part I didn't think was realistic was like right before that scene when he bangs his head, and he's like trying to figure out how to use his suit. He like shoots off this one web up into the air and like doesn't grab it or whatever, and like it falls onto the ground. You see it from like a side perspective, from like you know, like inside that person's truck, and they're not noticing Spider-Man in the background. One of those, that part looked really bad to me for some reason. The web just looked really weird. I don't know why.
Okay, I didn't really pay attention to that too much, so I don't know what. But okay.
Yeah, it was random. It was a random problem, but yeah.
This one web, but no, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, I think a lot of it looked good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually saw the movie with patron Hunt the Bunt Gunter, and he was talking to me about how much he liked the Vulture suit.
Yeah.
Which I do think was a cool design, but it was like it looked more realistic than Spider-Man did, I think.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of, I guess that I'm going basically just like full on aesthetics of the movie, but yeah, I think that looked good and it looked realistic, and that was sort of a highlight of the movie.
Yeah, they didn't stick with the feathers on the suit.
Yeah, they didn't stick with they didn't do feathers on the like 80-year-old man thing, you know.
Hey, he did wear that coat with like the fur type lining around the neck, so that was funny.
Yeah, that was much better than what he had in the like comics and cartoons and stuff like that. I mean, he was like the ugliest villain possible.
Yeah, they definitely made some realistic type improvements, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
But is that it though? Like no other things that shot out at you? Shot out because you shoot the web.
I guess it's occurring to me now that scene when he crawls and he's like walking on the ceiling in his room. It was a pretty long shot that looked pretty good. Like it, but that's the thing, is that this movie was, I guess in terms of like the filming and like the shots and stuff like that, it didn't seem to pop out. Like the action wasn't particularly well done. The shots weren't like unique exactly. It didn't really stand out that much. I think it mostly stood out in terms of like writing, plot, acting, characters, that sort of thing, but it didn't really have a particularly good it wasn't particularly good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, yeah.
I agree with you there. Yeah, I can agree with you there. All right. Well, I mean, what would we rate quality or stuff like that? I mean,
It wasn't bad. It wasn't really good. I give it like a 14. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll do that too. I'll stick with you. I'll do 14.
All right. Overall, what would you give the movie then?
Altogether, I'd probably give it like a higher rating than I actually. I'd probably give it like definitely somewhere between a 16.5 and a 17. Like somewhere around there.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna. I just thought of a sec for a bit. I'm gonna give it higher than 14 just because I realized that I did actually really enjoy parts of the soundtrack. I liked the Blitzkrieg Bop. I thought that was a good addition to the movie. Oh my
word, you're right. They did have some pretty cool songs.
Yeah, I thought that worked. So, I mean, I guess I'll give it another point for that or two. So, yeah, I'll give it like a 15.
I totally blanked on like the music and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a 15.
They did have a lot of like a lot of kind of like cliche songs that, you know,
yeah, some of them,
a lot of these coming of age movies like put in there, which kind of made it a little bit cheesy for me, but I mean, like, I guess it's kind of what they're going for, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, some of that was crap, and I mean, I guess nothing can really compare to the opening high school scene from Amazing Spider-Man when he goes in and he's listening to the Shins. I don't think you can just compare to that in terms of soundtrack when you had the Shins on your soundtrack. So I'm not gonna say it was amazing, but you know, it was all right, and I'll give it points. I'll give it points for the Blitzkrieg Pop. So yeah, 15 for that. Overall, I give my score. Yeah, I guess a 16.
All right, cool.
Yep. I did really enjoy that movie.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I guess that's it.
That's been it for the Spider-Man Homecoming review, and now we'd be moving on into Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Man, this is gonna be a pretty long episode.
It's gonna be a long episode, but you know, we're just getting back into the podcast seat. I'm just the podcast seat. We're just getting back into the podcast seat. Season 2.
Okay, so Baby Driver. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go first on this one because I know that you really, really liked it. So
I love this movie very, very, very much. It's at least in my top 20. If it's not in like my top.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's in my top 10 or 20. I really, really like it. It was one of the most like insane adrenaline rush movies I've ever seen, and it had just an amazing soundtrack. It was just overall just like a really perfect movie. The only problem I felt like, that wasn't even really a problem, it was just marketing. The trailers were terrible, but it didn't make me think the movie was going to be bad just because I knew it was Edgar Wright. So I knew the movie would be good.
Yeah.
So I didn't even pay attention to the trailers. I would just a new Edgar Wright movie. I have to see that. I tried to ignore the trailers because I knew.
Literally, that's exactly how it was for me. I saw the first trailer and I'm like, this doesn't look particularly good, but I know it's probably gonna be pretty good considering it's Edgar Wright. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah.
I guess on top of that, it wasn't really a comedy, like his other movies. I didn't feel like. It was not.
Really?
It was not nearly as comedic as his other movies were.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
And I don't know why some people call it a comedy. Like, I think it was classified as a comedy under something that I saw, and I really think it should just be classified as an action movie. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't that comedic.
Yeah.
But I love his directing style. It had just everything was great about it. But, anyways.
Yeah. So talk more about the plot though. What you liked about it.
All right. So I think. The plot, it just felt like it kept going because it made me like exhilarated and tired at the same time. Like I would want a movie primarily comprised of chase scenes to be, you know? Like I felt like the plot wasn't just it went to the conclusion you thought it would go to and then the movie ended. It felt like the movie went to the conclusion you thought it would go and then oh no, something different happened, and then they're still trying to get to that ending that you're expecting, and then like things would happen to like sort of deter them a bit more than you feel like normally happens in a plot. Because I felt like with Spider-Man Homecoming, it was sort of like it builds up and then, oh no, he does that one thing and he's like sort of in trouble, and so he's sort of sad for a while, and then he has the third act where he proves it, and that's sort of the end. Whereas I felt like Baby Driver, that was almost like a smaller part of the story. Like that, I almost feel like that was just like used, that sort of plot style was used in a different way in this movie. In like the first, I would say like the first 2/3 of the movie was almost that plot. Don't you think?
Yeah. Actually, no, I get what you're saying.
It builds up. He drops out. He's sort of in trouble. He's sad. Then he has this like crazy, what seems like a third act. But that's the thing, is that the third act like just kept going and kept going and kept building up, and just like exploded in your face. And then there was an epilogue that like just added more to the ending that I thought was good. So I think it was like sort of tiring, but in a good way. Okay. I found it hard to stand after watching that movie. I don't know why. Like, it was just, I sat there for so long with like so much adrenaline and like on the edge of my seat for like 2 hours, and then it's done and you get up and then you're just walking, and you just really wish you either had your iPod with you or that you were driving a car. I don't know. It was a really good time for me, and I thought that the plot was just as well executed as the ending of Rogue One.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Rogue One's like one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think Baby Driver's plot was like, the whole movie was about as good as the ending of Rogue One. So, yeah, okay. Really good. Yeah. I think I'll actually give it an 18 out of 18 in terms of plot. So.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
All right.
How about you?
Okay, so Baby Driver, I was just one of those movies that you're kind of really into. Like, I was just so, like, into it as I was watching it. I was just presently into it. It wasn't one of those, like, kind of speculating always, like, oh, this is gonna go this way, this is gonna go this way. Because I was, like, kind of lost. Like, I was like, wait, it's doing something really different here, because it's mixing it up. Because there were some elements of a movie that, like, I could... there was some elements of it that was just kind of like a usual movie and how it flowed, and then it would kind of mix it up, which I liked.
Yeah, I like that too.
And so it allowed me to get really into it and really care about it and kind of like just go with the flow of it instead of feeling like I was a viewer watching a movie. I totally felt like I was in, I was immersed.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I guess I can, relate with what you were saying about the whole, like, couldn't barely stand up after it, I guess. So, yeah, so that's what stood out as a movie compared to a lot of the other movies we watch nowadays where we know that we're the viewer, but, like, it did something different, which was awesome. And, I don't know if this is, no, I should probably save it for, I don't know, this is kind of the plot, I guess, about, like, with the soundtrack, but, like, a lot of movies find that you find that the soundtrack is kind of like soundtrack is just supposed to be a background thing. Like a lot of people, I heard that a lot of like amateur filmmakers think that the soundtrack needs to be something that is just almost unnoticeable because it's just supposed to go so well and like it fit well enough,
like every Marvel movie.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. Well, you can't say that about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think Guardians of the Galaxy did basically what Baby Driver did. I just think Baby Driver did it better. Because...
No. Yeah. As I was watching it, I'm like, hey, this kind of feels like, like Guardians of the Galaxy, except, the music selection was all over the place a little bit more and just different. And... it was almost more a part of the plot than it even was in Guardians. I mean, yeah, and in some sense, there was like a tape from his mom or whatever, and like that was that kind of like parallel between Guardians and this movie, with tapes and stuff. But
But at least the tape was
definitely,
of his mom and not from his mom.
That's true. That's true.
Bit of a difference, but yeah, it's true.
It definitely was more reliant, I think, on the music. Well, not more reliant, but Baby Driver, the music was more involved in the plot than Guardians of the Galaxy. But that's saying something because, music is involved a lot in the plot for both of them. But with Baby Driver, because of so I guess we're going into spoilers as well, and I kind of already spoiled it with the mom thing. But with like his tinnitus, and so he had this reason, there was like a background like motivation, I guess, for why you understand why he's always listening to music and stuff. It's not just this thing he does,
Yeah. And it made it matter more. And like the scenes when he was like, wait, I need to like restart the song. Okay, go. Like that sort of thing. Just, it made it like feel more realistic to me and more like he actually cared about the music.
Yeah.
But I also think Guardians 2, I think Guardians 2 just sort of destroyed the music thing because Rocket was the only one who cared about the music, and then Chris Pratt like could just live without it. And so I guess
I agree with that.
If you compare like all of the Guardians movies to what Baby Driver did in one movie, I think it's better.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really
like
make sense.
By the second Guardians of the Galaxy, by the second Guardians of the Galaxy, they were just so used to it, and it was like nothing. It wasn't as special as it was in the first one, which kind of hurt the movie for me.
Exactly. Yeah, it hurt it. So yeah. I think that. There's just there's too much to say about this movie.
Yeah, no, you can go.
I guess that's not really part of the plot, but I'll save it for later anyway. So.
Okay, all right. The main. Oh wait, we're not going to characters yet. Oh darn. Okay. Anyways, continuing with the plot. I liked how I kind of felt like with a movie like that, the way that it was structured, and since I kind of didn't know where it was going to go, and so into it, I already explained that. Like, I felt like there was a chance that it could have been one of those movies that kind of went nowhere, but it didn't do that. It kind of, it had a great resolution. And you're right, though. The third act lasted so long. I was so like wondering how it was all going to go down. What was going to happen, and by the end, like the one dude that was married to the one girl or whatever, or not, I don't know, it was hard to follow, who died, ended up kind of being that final villain.
Yeah,
which I thought
unexpected.
Throughout all that, he was the one in the end that was this villain.
I know, and you like him at like the beginning of the movie.
It's true because
and you hate bats or whatever. Like he was like he did such a good job being terrifying. But
you have Jamie Foxx's character, right?
Yeah.
And you have, which you're supposed to not like, and I kind of thought he was gonna be the villain, even though he kind of was, but he really wasn't by the end. He wasn't the main dude in the end that you thought would have that final event where it's like, oh yes, which is cool because it's unpredictable, and it wasn't unpredictable in a bad way. It was unpredictable in like, yes, actually that's really nice the way that played out.
Yeah, like it kept psyching you out, and it was interesting. I don't like it when I can predict a movie, so I try not to.
Yeah.
And that time
what's his name's character wasn't the villain. The leader dude.
Kevin Spacey's character?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey's character wasn't like, in a normal movie, almost, you kind of figured he'd be the villain.
In a normal movie, he would be the villain, but he was more of like the what's his name from Guardians 2?
Yondu?
Yeah, he was more like the Yondu of this movie.
Yeah, and like one of my first notions, or my first like, kind of prediction was like, oh, is he gonna be the bad guy because he bails on a mission, or the main character bails on a mission, and Kevin Spacey's character gets mad, and so it becomes one of those chase things where Kevin Spacey sends like a bunch of them against him, and he has to, but it didn't do that, which was cool.
Yeah.
So, which I felt like it totally could have easily done that. So yeah, in terms of plot, it was like the more I talk about it, the more I actually really appreciate it and like it, and so I don't know if I could give it an 18, and I don't know why, but like, I feel like if I ever gave something, like, perfect, I'd feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like, oh man, I've seen everything, but I'm gonna say like 17.7 is what I'll give it. I know.
You and your stupid decimals. Come on.
Yeah,
Edgar
don't
Wright
hate
deserves
me. I'm
better.
sorry. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. 17.7. Okay, that's what I'll give it.
That's good enough. So do you want to move on to characters?
Yes.
Well, then what do you think about characters?
Oh, hi. Yeah. Well, obviously the main character was great, and the initial fact that like, especially with his tinnitus, as we mentioned previously, how like it was one of the things where you had to figure it out kind of in the middle of the movie when you learned it, and you kind of like saw glimpses of the accident that happened or something that kind of like scarred him when his parents died because of it, you know. And so you kind of were left putting the pieces together until by the middle of the movie or towards the like maybe 75% of the way you kind of figured it all out, I guess. And so I mean I like that, and like I felt like a lot of movies would have just kind of give in and just maybe like in the beginning you know get the background and be like, okay, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got that. All right, you know, and it didn't do that, which was very cool. And oh man, real quick, back to plot. Well, technically this is also character. So Lily Evans, was that the actress's name? The girlfriend girl. Like what?
Yeah.
She had that like, she was a part of. I give her like a part of the B plot almost like. B, and then it kind of collided with the main plot.
Yeah, it was
cool.
like there was an A plot and a B plot, and then they like came together into the glorious C plot that everybody loved so much and deserves an Oscar.
And
I don't know.
That's I've like lately I've been doing a lot of like research on screenwriting and like movie analyzing and stuff like that, and that's how a lot of screenwriters will go about writing their screenplays, and they'll have separate mini plots, and a good screenplay by the end is supposed to have them meld together really naturally and well, and this did that beyond, you know, that, I think.
Yeah,
and
just completely
it did it so stinking
Speechless.
well, and like literally throughout the whole movie I was still asking questions. I'm like, wait, how is this gonna happen? Like, why did they introduce her? And it's almost like two things are going on. Like, how is this going to work together? And I don't know. Edgar Wright just finds a way to actually make it work in the end so well.
Really well,
and,
yeah.
I mean, and like, I feel like the that B plot with Lily Evans' character could have been really like plot that you kind of wanted to stay
Lily
away from.
Evans Harry Potter's mom?
Oh, maybe it's Lily James.
That sounds right. But
yeah,
then,
Lily. Oh, sorry, I've been reading a lot of Harry Potter lately.
But would it be Lily James? Because those are just both names. It is Lily James, but that's funny because they're both names of Harry's parents.
Sorry, yeah, that's proof that I have been reading Harry Potter, okay?
I forgive you.
So, Lily James, yeah. So I felt like that would be a side plot I'd kind of want to, like, could have gone, like, kind of wrong, kind of like the one that I'd want to steer clear from. In a way, like, you know, there's some movies where there's a side plot that I don't exactly like and kind of are just waiting till it gets to the main plot, you know, and kind of just like, all right, okay, let's pick it up, let's get back to this main plot because I'm curious what's going to happen here, you know. But that's not, you know, it wasn't this way with this movie. It was like that side plot added another layer to it, and then by the end, when it all worked in together, it just it made it so much better. Like, it made me appreciate the side plot throughout the entire movie so much more. And so, anyways, going back to characters, I did like Lily James's character, and there was great like chemistry there, I guess. Even though I felt like they're like, I don't know, it moved really fast with their whole relationship. So I didn't know like the time frame of that all happened, because, you know, he was at the diner and he went there a couple times, and then they went to the laundry mat place, you know, and then like before you know it, things are getting kind of serious. So I don't know. Oh, and then went to dinner, and so like those kind of events, like I don't know like the time frame that all took place in, but no, it was still really good. And I did like the blind dude a lot. Or not the blind dude, the deaf dude. Jeez, what's wrong with me?
Who are you?
The deaf dude was great.
Yeah, he was. I think the actor, from what I understand, was actually deaf, who played him.
Really?
Yeah, and it worked.
Okay.
I mean, he was
Yeah, it's cool.
Obviously very convincing as a deaf person.
And it also provided more, like, towards the whole not hearing thing and towards the whole, like, music thing, I guess.
Yeah, having
It
him,
made you...
like, have this problem and then also living with somebody who's deaf, really, it made an interesting sort of twist on the music, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know,
and
I
the
think
fact
it
that, you know,
added
he
more.
could play it... And the fact that he could play it really loudly and he wouldn't exactly notice unless he felt the speaker, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
And he gets to, like, listen to it through the speaker, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also he's pretty much me, I just realized. Baby is basically me. Because, like,
Okay.
I carry around an MP3 player wherever I go, and I have, like, thousands of songs in, like, different albums, and I basically play it depending on my mood. And, like, that's not a joke. Like, that's what I do. And then on top of that, like, when I'm home, I just blare vinyl all the time. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could say I do that as well. Like, on a smaller scale, of course, because I don't have that type of thing. But I can get the whole, like, kind of always making sure having music on you and playing it based on your mood, I guess. That type of area, I could relate to that, too. So,
And I do, like, I synchronize things that I do to the music as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet lots of
exactly,
people do it, but
exactly.
yeah, I thought it was funny. I think the New
Like,
York Times had
but-
like a tweet about Baby Driver, and they're like, see, millennials have their MP3s, just like the baby boomers have their vinyls, or something like that. And like almost all
Yeah.
of the comments were like, what about us people who have both?
That's funny.
It was so good. I
Well,
wish I
like,
had
yeah.
like several different MP3s with like different types of music on it. But, you know,
Yeah.
I
That'd be
just
cool.
decided to get a really nice one that has enough storage that you can put all of the things on there. So, anyways, I'm gonna stop boring everybody with my MP3 purchases, but
I did like this goes into quality kind of, but I loved how the music was synchronized with everything. It works. It just like made the scene so much cooler, I guess, you know. I mean, in some sense, all music has to be synchronized with the scenes, but it was like, you know, the things that it was synchronized with, kind of like the speed or like the slamming of the door is right when the drum starts or the bass hits, I guess. I don't know.
wow.
So
We were just so hyped about this movie, we skipped characters completely and jumped ahead to production.
I know.
I know,
I'm
but
sorry.
no,
Okay.
no, we need to keep talking about production because I love this stuff.
Okay.
I think the sound
Okay, yeah,
mixing was like the best sound mixing of any movie.
Yeah.
Like how you hear like sort of, you can almost hear tension, or I mean you can hear tension increasing, like when he's not listening to something and he's getting stressed out. Like just all of the subtle things that they did in the sound mixing and sound editing and stuff like that too. On top of just like having the music fit in really well, just like escalated the tension of the movie and just like, I mean, piqued your interest, I guess, more. And it was so much better, definitely so much better than Beauty and the Beast. Which I remember in the podcast I was slamming it for its sound mixing or something. So yeah, definitely better than that.
Okay. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, the sound mixing had to be a huge part of the movie, and they would have to do it really well in order for, you know, it to be, like a you could get the quality out of it, and they totally did, and they totally succeeded, which was awesome. But like the cool little, even like the little things that they did though, with him listening to the music and conversations going on around, and like how other characters kind of interacted with that. They totally explored that, and just, man, it's just a masterpiece. I'm sorry, yeah.
It just is.
Anyways, it really is. Like, it's so hard to like describe it in words. Some things that they do, and that just goes to show how awesome it is for someone to actually have created this. That I can like hardly describe in words of what happened, like how well and it was put together and all. So
all I can say is that I need to see it again, And then I wish I was
Yeah.
old enough to just go see art movies by myself, because I'd just like stay at the theater all day watching it over and over again.
Yeah, so we really liked it, obviously. So, anyways, we have to rate this.
No, I don't want to rate
Characters
it
and
yet.
Quality.
I don't.
Okay.
No. Well, we're not even really
No.
talking about characters anymore. I'm just gonna move on to production and then get back to characters. But
Yeah. Okay.
I was realizing, as I was going through, like, that all of the scenes that are sort of like flashbacks, all those like flashback scenes where it only shows like a bit of it and doesn't tell you the whole thing until later.
Yeah.
At first, I thought of like, yeah, I guess that's sort of reminiscent of what they did in Batman v Superman, where they kept showing that scene. But the difference is that in that movie, they showed the full scene and then just kept going back to glimpses of it, which didn't really make any sense in that movie. But I've been watching Edgar Wright's TV show Spaced from 1999 or whatever, and in that, they keep Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's character keep referencing this thing that happened when they were kids, and it keeps like showing a bit of it, and then it'll show like a bit of it, but something different happens in it, and it like keeps psyching you out, and you think like, oh, this is nothing really, it's just like some sort of comedic joke. But then at the end of the season, they actually show the full flashback, and like it all makes sense what they were talking about when they said that. Like everything that they were mentioning about that flashback that you all just thought was a joke, like actually makes sense. And like they show you the full thing, and it's basically the same thing as what they did in Baby Driver. So it's like It's another one of Edgar Wright's really interesting things, like his really, really fast cuts and shots and stuff like that to display a lot of information in like 2 seconds. And then he also has like really long wide sweeping shots. Basically, his directing is just amazing anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're right though.
I like the little bits he
mean,
includes in each story.
Yeah, that's really cool. But in like with the I described, I think, even Spider-Man: Homecoming and a lot of other movies based on like, well, with Guardians of the Galaxy too, well, both of them as well, based on like whether the plot was predictable or not, on top of like its overall like whether the plot was predictable or not, or whether and if it were, sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now. I can't think at the moment.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, wait. Whether so the plot, whether it was predictable or whether it was actually interesting, and on top of that, whether it actually had an element to it where I was like still asking myself questions, and so or whether I've seen a plot like this before. And so with Spider-Man: Homecoming or Guardians of the Galaxy, I've seen plots like that before. They just did, of course, those movies had just done it really well. But this, I've never seen a plot like it before, and on top of that, it was done really well.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's cool to see that combination in a movie where it's just so different but done so well that the different is good and gets you excited.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I don't know, like whether back to like we're production and stuff like that. Whether I'd have to see it again to observe more. Like the little shots or different things in the way they do, like the cinematography and stuff like that. So I definitely want to see it again and talk about it more with you. But
yeah, for me that's the first thing I observe when I watch a movie is generally. Like, if I'm not just engrossed in the story or something like that, I'm just following the movie blankly, the first thing that I'm really paying attention to is, like, the shots and the sound and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's literally just the plot. Like, I just only follow the plot and try to just focus on that the most. Mm-hmm. Then the more I watch the movie, I notice the other things like that on top of that. But, yeah, so...
Yeah.
Very cool though. So, anything else you want to say about the production though? Because we kind of we're just skipping through things.
It's just absolutely perfect, and if I could, I would give it a rating of like 20 out of 18, because it's not just like this was a really, really good one that was done super well, or like this was it was like the best sort of production like that I've seen. So
Okay.
just number one on my list in terms of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I could give it a 20 out of 18, I would. But I'm gonna be nice and I'm gonna be reasonable, and I'm just gonna give it an 18 out of 18. So.
Yeah. So I guess for quality and / production, I'd give it a 17.9.
Ah,
Yes.
that's disgusting. You're hurting me. Okay, I guess we should talk about characters more.
Back to characters, yes. I guess at least I kind of talked about Lily James's character, and that she wasn't the annoying part of the movie.
Yeah, she was really
was
good.
There any annoying part of the
I mean,
movie?
also the fact that she
Yeah.
was British, and like you couldn't tell. Like she had a really good Southern accent for being British.
Oh yeah, she was British. I totally forgot she was British.
Yeah, like that always
You're
amazes me
right.
when people do that.
Dang.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
and for
with,
that point, we should give Tom Holland credit for doing a really just amazing, just normal
It's true.
American accent for being British. But you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the little girl from Logan.
yeah,
Right?
and the little girl
She was
from
British.
Wonder Woman, young Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
She's Scottish, and she did some whatever weird accent that was.
Yay for people who can, do other accents.
Yay!
Yay. Well, okay, characters, I guess. Again, yeah, Lily James was good. Any other characters in particular you want to mention?
I wanted to talk about Kevin. Well,
Kevin Spacey.
Well, yeah, Kevin Spacey, but also Jamie Foxx. I guess
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'll start with Kevin Spacey then. But Kevin Spacey's character, I felt like just that was probably the weakest point of the movie to me. It was just his character,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like it was bad. It was just I wanted more from his character, and I thought he could have been much more George Clooney in Fantastic Mr. Fox. I wanted more of a, I don't know. I felt like he could have had a bit more, like, I guess it was just the dialogue and how he delivered it didn't seem as interesting as I think they could have made him. Like, for all intents and purposes, he was an interesting character. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I couldn't tell if that was actually his nephew or his son, the little kid that he brings along. But, like, there's, like, they bring up questions about him from there. He also, basically picks up baby off of the streets or something like that. Like, there's a lot of interesting things that he does for also being sort of like in some ways, a crime boss of sorts. And he seems pretty nice, and then at the end, spoilers, he dies to, like, save baby or give him some time. So, like, he's really interesting, but, like, he never had an interesting piece of dialogue or, like, a really awesome moment. Even the part when he died didn't seem that awesome to me. Like, I guess he felt, like, totally passable and actually pretty good, just not great like everything else, which made it stand out to me.
Yeah, so in that way you wanted more, I guess.
I wanted more from him, but yeah.
I can understand that because I agree with when he died, I was like, I feel like I could be sadder about this but the thing is, I didn't get enough, I think, to be truly, like, sad that he died, I guess. Not, like, to really be sad, but I was like, oh, what a bummer, he was this dude that, kind of helped him out, and he's gone. But, yeah, I agree, there was more that they could have done with him, and, like, I don't know, if they did more, maybe it would, like, make me feel more okay about him just, like, helping them out, and, well, like, I could understand him helping him out, but it was like, I was in love once, here you go, let me just help you out.
It makes logical sense. It just, doesn't connect very well, and I do think it's just because he didn't have enough dialogue to get to know him, and he didn't, like, have any sort of particular mannerisms that made him stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as far as a complaint could go, though, literally we're just saying, like, it would be cool if there was a little bit more with him.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That's, you know,
Yeah.
that's about it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but is that all for his character?
I think so.
Do you want to move on to Jamie Foxx's?
Yeah, I want to talk about Jamie Foxx a bit. Like, he was just perfect.
Wait. I'm so sorry, but real quick, do you remember the guy from the beginning? And he was the Punisher from Daredevil?
I never watched Daredevil, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, do you remember the guy? He was in the first mission of the opening scene.
Was he slow? No.
Okay, that voice really scared me. That literally, you gave me like a shock. That was so. Okay, sorry. Anyways, yeah, the was he slow dude.
Yeah.
Remember, right as they exited the elevator, he's like, "Hey, if you guys don't see me again, that probably means I'm dead," and we don't see him again. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. I didn't connect
anyway,
that.
sorry.
But yeah, that's funny.
I just thought of that as soon as we mentioned Jamie Foxx.
So, yeah, I thought Jamie Foxx's character was just like really, really freaky and just really well acted, and totally terrified me. And yeah. I also thought the way that he died was just the absolute best, and just the most Shaun of the Dead way possible. It was very beautiful to me. I loved it. Yeah, just every scene that he was in was just electrified. It was just perfect. I thought he had a really, really great performance.
He was such an interesting character.
Yeah.
At least for me, like as I was like assessing the plot and was trying to like, you know, kind of get a sense of the whole movie, he was just the character that was like I couldn't really grasp whether, you know, like, oh, is he so like I definitely don't like this dude. He was probably the one character for me that I couldn't just, you know, kind of put my finger on. I mean, a lot of the characters I couldn't, but probably him was the most, because I knew I wasn't supposed to like him, and I knew that you know, like it was weird, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
With his character.
Like, I loved him because I hated him so much.
Yeah, and so for him to die the way he did, and to, you know, like, his moment and his ending was just so perfect. And, like, you could say, but he just got impaled by a random, like, thing in this car crash. But it was so much more than that.
Yeah, he was just like,
wow, there was
go. And he's, like, gonna kill him. And then he just drives. Just, oh, gosh. That was the lamest way to possibly explain what happened, but it was just, I mean, it was probably actually my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
That was so good.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, that's the sort of person I am. But yeah, I have to change my ringtone to "Was he slow?" now. So.
Oh my word! The moment you played that, I was thinking like the moment I kind of like when I heard that, I was thinking, you know, that would be such a funny ringtone. I kind of want to make it for my ringtone.
It would be so amazing.
So okay, if we both have the same ringtone, just know I'm not copying you. I had that thought already.
Yeah, but so did I. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you wanted to go on about for Jamie Foxx?
I just wanted to say that he was really well, really well acted, his character, and that I really liked that part of the movie. So
yeah,
that's pretty much it. Yeah, he's an 18 out of 18 part.
Probably.
But that's the thing about, I think I'd give the like acting and performances and like overall like character development, satisfaction, and that sort of thing, I'd give it like a 16 or 17 out of 18.
Yeah.
Which is low for this movie.
Which is low for this movie.
I'll give it a 17 just because I felt like we needed more from Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I'll give it a 17.3.
Hey, you're being more positive than I am, huh?
That's true. That is true. I do think I like the characters. I like the characters more than you did.
I guess so. So what would you give the overall? What would you give the movie?
Overall, I would give it a 17 point. A 17.8. Hello?
It's a bit low, don't you think?
Hello? No, that's very good.
Yeah.
I think that's very
okay,
fair.
well, I'm giving it an 18, so.
Alright.
Best movie of the year so far.
I would agree with that, actually.
Oh, yeah. It inspired me to watch all the rest of his movies. So I've seen them all. I watched Scott Pilgrim last night. That one was really good.
Ooh, cool. I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim, nor have I seen At World's End. So
isn't it just The World's End? Anyways, because I think At World's End is a Pirates movie.
Whoa, my word! Did I seriously mix those up?
I mean, it's not very hard to mix those two up when they have pretty much the same name, just a difference of article, of like an article.
That's true.
Or a preposition.
Yeah, it is just The World's End.
Mm. It's good.
Yeah, At World's End, The World's End. Jeez.
Yeah, 3 flavored cornetto
Right.
at World's End. Yeah, that was. I think Edgar Wright's 3 flavored cornetto trilogy, like, despite being probably more iconic than his other movies, are like, they're less. I guess they're not any lesser. They're just not as. I don't like them as much as I like the other ones. So. Now that's a thing.
What
to
are
say.
the other ones that you like?
Well, I mean, I really liked Scott Pilgrim, and I really liked Baby Driver, and
Did you like those better than Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and The World?
I mean, I think Hot Fuzz stands out as being like I think his second best movie, or like equal to Baby Driver. But
Okay.
I think The World's End, and even to some extent Shaun of the Dead, are maybe below Scott Pilgrim for me. So yeah, if
Okay.
I were going to rank them from number 1 to the worst one or something like that, I guess I'd say Baby Driver / Hot Fuzz, then Scott Pilgrim, then Shaun of the Dead, and then The World's End is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, actually, I mean, even though I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim and The World's End, I'd rate it really fairly similar to how you did, with Hot Fuzz and Baby Driver being like at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess Shaun of the Dead at the bottom, because I haven't seen The World's End or Scott Pilgrim. So, but yeah, that's our rankings, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah. I like those movies, and I have so much to edit out of this podcast.
Well, that's just how it is on the Gosh Daniel Podcast.
Hooray.
The podcast for you and your family.
Okay, I have to edit that out too, because that sounds horrible. That really stinks. All right, well, we should probably do social medias.
Ooh, yeah, so I guess that's it for the Baby Driver review. And social medias... should I say something about social media?
If you want to. I mean,
will.
you're already talking, so.
I am talking, and I just don't like stopping talking. What is going on? Okay, hello. YouTube. We're on YouTube, and that's technically a social media, I guess. And
Sure.
if you're not listening on YouTube already, we're YouTube, I think / the Gosh Daniel Podcast. But just search the Gosh Daniel Podcast on YouTube, and you'll probably find us. On iTunes, we are also the Gosh Daniel Podcast. And we are on also Stitcher, so that's cool. In case you don't have like an iPod or an iPhone and you don't want to download iTunes on your computer, you can listen on Stitcher.
Or you don't have YouTube Red and you're going to the mountains.
Oh, that too. And and so we are on Twitter at the Gosh Daniel Pod. Please tweet us, because we have no one that tweets us, which is sad.
We have never gotten a tweet.
We are on Patreon at technically at, but not the at symbol. Oh man, I forget this one. Can you do this one? Patreon, I always forget it.
Patreon.com/GoshDaniel.
Oh. Oh, well, now I feel stupid. Okay, whatever.
It's just so complicated.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we have 2 patrons, like we talked about earlier in the episode, raking in that $1.51 a month, and by that I mean $1.51 a month, or 151 cents a month. Wow.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. We're doing well. Thank you to Hunt the Bunt Gunter, one of our patrons, who I saw Spider-Man Homecoming with. Also, he got me a free ticket, so like he paid for my ticket and everything. So like that's an extra sort of, you know, almost extra Patreon earnings. There is a free movie, you know.
Oh my word! Is he gonna make top Patreon? Is he gonna make top patron?
Well, he really is top patron right now.
Myron's got to step up her game.
Well, that's a problem.
Speaking of Myron,
she's asked us to not call her that anymore.
That sounds like she was so offended or something.
Well, she wasn't offended. She's just annoyed, I guess. So we have to give her so she's Noreen. We're gonna refer to her as Noreen.
I thought she wanted to be called Shaniqua.
No, see, that's what you wanted to call her, and that's when she gave us this nickname. So she will be Noreen from now on.
Okay then. Well, Noreen.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you to Noreen, and thank you to Hunt the Bunt Gunter for their very kind donations.
Patriotic support.
Yeah, patriotic support. That's the term. We've gone almost an hour and a half, making this our longest episode, which is a good way
Season 2
to start Season 2.
Premiere.
Season 2 premiere. Extra long, extra boring.
Yeah.
2 movies.
Extra long.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
So
all right.
I would say that Spider-Man Homecoming is you're strongly obligated to see if you at all care about Marvel movies. And Baby Driver is a must-see, even if you are a grandma who finds it difficult to get out of bed in the morning. Whoever you are, Baby Driver is for you.
Oddly specific, but okay.
Unless you're terrified of hearing the F word, in which case I don't recommend it. There were almost 60 F words in that movie, so.
Oh dang.
Yeah, that was a count I found was like 58 or something. So. So it's not for the faint of. Well, I guess I wouldn't say the faint of heart. Really, it's not. The faint of tongue.
Okay then. Also, we will probably be deciding the first listener of the month.
The listener of the month, which is actually a week.
Okay, the listener of the month, which is actually a week for the first time of Season 2. It's a big deal, so maybe if you tweet us, or
if you tweet us, you are the instant listener of the month for the week.
Or if you comment on YouTube, then you'll get some extra. Get some extra
points,
extra brownie points.
But we need some more steady communication, and you need to say something interesting, and also on top of that, we need to like you. So.
Jeez. Okay, being pretty brutal here.
Please
fine.
tweet us.
Don't say please 3 times, then you sound desperate.
No,
right?
if I say please 3 times,
be cool.
Then you see, you ruined my psychology experiment there, because we've tried saying it multiple different times, but I'm not sure we've ever tried saying it 3 times. And I was thinking maybe if you say it 3 times, then the person will either choose to do the first thing you said or the last thing you said. But either way, the last thing or the first thing we said was please, and so then they'll feel obligated to, was my idea.
Fine. You're a genius.
Yeah. So please tweet us, and you will be the listener of the month for the week. And this is a big deal, okay? I mean, you get prizes, like a shout out. That's a prize.
Whoa.
Bragging rights, that's a prize.
This is a really long episode. Come on,
the right to be
man.
a patron. That's a right that you would get. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Thank you so much for just end the torture.
I'm the one that's going to be editing, so it's really hard for me.
Yeah,
But
it's true. All right, well, have fun editing. That's going to be your consequence for making this episode so long.
Was he slow?
Oh my word, that's you stupid voice scares me. Okay, goodbye. We're editing
Okay,
this.
fine.
You're so loud.
Hey guys, this is Bob. I just want to ask you guys to let us know what you thought of this longer episode, what you thought of this way of recording, and what you thought of the new intro. If you want the old one, please just tell us. Yeah, thanks. Was he slow?
No. 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 No.